They say you only remember what you're ready to face. But what if your memory was never missing, just stolen? I was just the caretaker. That's all I thought. A quiet job at a remote estate far away from the noise of the world, surrounded by fog, whispering trees, and a kind of silence that felt too clean. I was given one key, one rule,
And one lie.
don't enter the East Wing after dark, the owner told me. And like a fool, I obeyed. For weeks, everything felt still, like the house was sleeping. But I wasn't. I'd wake at 3 a.m. drenched in sweat, convinced someone was watching. Doors creaked open on their own. A piano played 3 notes, always the same. Then came the whispers, not from behind me, but inside me, like I already knew what was hidden in that wing. I convinced myself it was my imagination. That is, until I found the locket, crushed under soil by the fountain, its chain torn, the photo inside warped by time. A woman, dark hair, eyes full of heartbreak, and something inside me cracked. That night, I dreamed of her. She stood at the edge of the East Wing hallway, bathed in firelight, mouthing my name. When I jolted awake, the room was ice cold, and the door, locked hours ago, was wide open. Her scent lingered. Jasmine, and smoke. From that moment, the house stopped hiding. Footsteps echoed when I was alone. The mirrors no longer reflected me. My reflections stared back with unfamiliar pain. I asked Mr. Thorne, the owner, about the East Wing. He didn't blink. Some rooms remember more than people do, he said. I laughed nervously. But inside, something whispered, he knows. I started noticing things in the corners of rooms. A shadow that never moved. A whisper that spoke in reverse. I found a letter hidden behind a portrait, addressed to me, but aged at least 30 years. My name. My handwriting. But I hadn't written it.
Yet.
I spiraled. I began exploring the house at night, flashlight in hand, recording everything. In the East Wing, I found a piano missing one key, the same 3 notes from my dreams. I touched the lid and felt heat, like the memory of a fire. Beneath the piano, I found burned floorboards, hiding a box of old photographs. My mother,
Holding me.
standing beside a man, Mr. Thorne, but he looked the same as he does now. Not younger, not older, just eternal. I dropped the photo. My breath caught. Was I being haunted or recycled? The deeper I searched, the more the house gave up its secrets. I discovered a journal in the attic, written by her. The woman from the locket. Page after page of fear. Warnings. Desperation. They'll make you forget, she wrote. But they can't erase your soul. One entry chilled me to my bones. He always brings him back. But each time, he remembers a little sooner. Each time, I hadn't just lived here. I died here. Over and over. A cycle built by Mr. Thorne, who wasn't a man but something older. A keeper of souls. A master of memory. Feeding on sorrow and keeping the estate alive through repetition. And I was the heart of it. The fuel. I confronted him that night. My hands shook, but I looked him in the eye. What am I? I asked. He smiled, not with joy, but with hunger. You're the reason she never leaves, he said. She stays for you. And so do I. I screamed. I threw the photo at him. It landed in the fireplace and instantly caught flame. But when I looked back, it was already whole again, back on the mantel. Untouched. Time here wasn't real. It bent around pain. Trapped in a loop that broke hearts, but never memory. I had to get out. I packed my bags and ran to the gate. There was no gate. No road.
Just fog.
Miles of it. Endless and alive. I shouted. Screamed.
Begged.
But the fog only swallowed my voice. The estate wouldn't let me go. I wasn't a guest. I was a prisoner of a history I never asked for. I spent days trying to break windows, dig tunnels, set fires, but nothing worked. Every morning, the house reset. The candles relit themselves. The portraits cleaned themselves. And Mr. Thorne would greet me like nothing ever happened. Morning, caretaker, he'd say, sipping tea. And every day, I felt the madness grow louder. Then came the final dream. She stood in the East Wing again, but this time crying. Not whispering. Screaming. Wake up. He'll do it again. You're almost there. I shot out of bed, heart racing, the air thick with smoke. But the house wasn't on fire.
Not yet.
That day, I followed the clues. I ripped open the piano, found the hidden lever beneath the bench. A staircase led down to a cold, stone basement. There, in the dark, were candles still burning after decades. And on the wall, names, written in blood. My name, dozens of times. Different years, different ages, different deaths. One by drowning, one by poison, one by fire. I fell to my knees. My soul had been recycled through this house like a record on repeat. But this time, I remembered enough to break it. Her diary had instructions. Burn the roots, it said. Burn the room where it began. I carried kerosene up from the basement, soaked the curtains, the floors, the walls. And in the East Wing, I found a room, hers. Everything was untouched. Her dress still hanging. Her journal on the table. A photo of me on the bed. A baby. Her baby. I wept. I remembered. She was my mother. She died protecting me from him. From Thorn. And he used that grief to keep me here, feeding on my pain. Again and again. I lit the match. And the house roared.
Not burned. Roared.
It screamed like a beast in its death throes. Walls cracked. Paintings bled. Fire burst through the ceilings as if the house itself was trying to escape its own sins. And through it all, Mr. Thorne stood calm, watching.
Burning.
Smiling. See you next time, he whispered as the flames devoured him. But this time there was no next time. I didn't run. I stood in the middle of the inferno with the locket in my hand. I closed my eyes and let it all burn.
The pain.
The memories. The lies. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in a hospital bed. Weeks had passed. They told me I'd been pulled from the ruins of a mansion that didn't exist. No records. No owner. Just ashes. They said I kept muttering one word in my sleep. Free. I've spent the last year trying to live. To be normal. But sometimes, I still hear her voice in the wind. Not in fear.
In peace.
I keep the locket beside my bed. Not because I need it to remember, but because I want to. I wasn't just the caretaker. I was the son. The lost one. The broken one. The one who finally woke up. And if you're hearing this, maybe it's because you've been there too. Or maybe you're already inside.